Yeah.
Thank you. I just want to thank you for not having one of the desks at the high school that connected. Sad the one for back to school.
Okay, I'm handing over this meeting to Mr. Fleetwood.
Thank you, Mr. Kezmarsky, for submitting a letter of interest for the vacancy. As I said before, we are going to go around. Each board member has been assigned a question to ask you. And without further ado, we'll get started. Mr. De Silva has the first question.
So my question is, what prompted you to submit your application to become a member of the Board of Education, and is there anything in particular that interests you about this position?
Sure. Once again, thank you for having me. It's glad to be here. I'm glad to see others also submitted their names. What brought me to this point? For me, it's somewhat of a natural progression. You know, having gone to school here, and then having moved back here and started a family here, and then having gotten involved in the HSO when my son was in school, and you know, doing walkathons every year, and then my daughter for almost 6 years of cooking food every October. Then I found the school's foundation and joined that when he was young. I've been on about 7 or 8 years. Currently the president of that organization now. So for me, it's been just a natural progression, you know, through the school district, getting more and more involved where I can. And then when this opened up, it just seemed, you know, the timing's never right when you're the president of an organization, as the school's foundation, but the timing is right in my life in terms of what I want to do and where I want to go, and what I want to be part of. And so I think, you know, with the great responsibility that comes with being a trustee on the Board of Ed, for me, it just made sense and it clicked. What do I hope to bring? Gosh, there's a couple different things. I'm currently the administrator in Westwood for the municipal side. So I bring a great knowledge of the public sector, public budgeting, capital projects, capital you know, improvement plans, as well as policies and procedures and how they affect public employees. On top of that, prior to that, I was the director of IT for the county for 4 years, where we pretty much overhauled 25-year-old legacy systems and brought the county up to somewhat in the 21st century, which again is no small feat, nor was it cheap. But those are the kind of things that I think I bring to the board if I were to be selected.
Hi, Ben. Hello. What do you see as the duties and responsibilities of the Board of Education member?
Certainly, the Board of Ed members are not, you know, as you always read about, they're not to be involved in the day-to-day operations of the school. They're here as the elected, or in this case, selected representatives for the taxpayers to be overseers and trustees of policies and procedures, taxpayer dollars, the budget, personnel issues when they come about. So it's not necessarily obviously the day-to-day running of the school, nor should it be, but it is the oversight role in which is very important.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, and thanks for putting your hat in the ring. What personal or professional attributes would you bring to the Board of Education, and how do you see it enhancing our operations?
Sure. From a it's personal and professional. In my job now, you know, I tend to bring somewhat of a calming influence over, you know, both sides of the table. I have the ability to see both sides, the ability to relate to both sides, and the ability to communicate as such. From, you know, if you've seen what's gone on here, obviously there was a hotly contested negotiation that went on for a while, and it got heated and it got personal. But at the same time, it's you know, I would bring to that situation, or just the idea of it, again, calming to some point, but also an understanding of what the other side is thinking and going through, but also being able to communicate that with the board. You know, from a professional side, again, it's ideal every day in contracts and policies and procedures in just the management of a town, of public employees, and also dealing with the public for that matter. So I just think just the overall knowledge and day-to-day of what I do, I think would be an asset.
Thank you.
Next, Ben, how are you? Pardon me. Is there anything in particular that you would like to accomplish while in service to the district?
I really, I love technology. I think we are, I don't want to say lacking, I think it's the wrong word to use. I think we got off to a very late start in what we were trying to do here, and came from when Dr. Monsanto left, we had an interim, and then Dr. Schoen came. And in that time, school districts around us, and across the country for that matter, were really delving in and taking off in terms of what they offer their students in terms of either instruction or use of technology. On the flip side of that is it's almost a blessing in some regards, because some districts jumped in too fast. And conversations obviously I've had with the Schools Foundation with Carlos, is that some jumped in just to an iPad because that's the cool hip thing to do. And sure, Apple will say it's the greatest thing ever, but that's what their job is. But from our standpoint, we're starting with the laptops. I think it's a start. I think we have the interactive boards. But I think there's a lot more, and there's a lot more to do, and there's a lot more even currently developing in terms of what our teachers are capable of and what they can use to instruct the kids in this day and age. That's just one.
Any others that you want to add?
I think we're going to be tackling. It's not really so much as we want to do. You see what's going on in this world in terms of just the different policies and procedures that are coming down from the state and from the national level, and how we're going to tackle those and how you implement them into the school district. It's going to be, I think it's going to be, for lack of a better word, an exciting challenge. For lack of a better word.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, next question. Hi. You partially answered this with your with the Model Schools Foundation, but I'll ask it anyway and see if you have anything else to add. Tell us a bit about your past or current involvement with any professional, community service, and/or civic organizations. What roles have you taken? And how do you feel your involvement has prepared you for service on the Board of Education?
Sure. As I've already said, I'm the president of the Schools Foundation. I worked my way up from trustee, associate trustee to trustee and beyond. Ran several events. I've been part of the HSOs, but also member of the Board of Adjustment, Boy Scout leader, Cub Scout leader, and basketball. So in all of those things, I've always been involved in the town. I've always seen it to be a purpose to give back to the town that has given me so much, and that I did call home, and that I do call home when I grew up here. All of those things combined, what they've given me is the ability to interact with both, not only the students, the parents, but also the teachers and the administration. So I've run the gamut of both sides and all sides. So you see it from a professional side in terms of what the teachers go through, and the administrators go through, and the principals go through, but also the board, and also what the parents go through, and what they're looking for their kids. So.
Very nice, thank you.
Finally, someone who can answer my question.
That's a lot of pressure.
Ben, welcome. Thank you for applying. At this time, do you see any limitations or conflicts of interest that might hamper you in fulfilling your responsibilities as a board member? Finally, I guess I went to ask.
As I sit here currently, there is a conflict of interest. And Ms. Marion emailed me just to state that it was in fact one that I always knew about it as well. I said to her, what I truly feel is that had this been a year ago, had this been a year and a half ago, even when I was just starting, I don't think it would have been the appropriate time to be able to step away from the foundation, because that is a requirement. You can't be a trustee of both. I think in the past year and a half, the exec board that we have and the trustees that we have, we've rebuilt the organization with a lot of younger parents, with a lot more parents who are more involved now, and it's grown well. And I don't think we skipped a beat. I feel comfortable. If I were to walk away right now, I feel comfortable that not only will it will continue to grow, and that's always how you want to leave something. You want to leave something with the ability that it's either better or going to get better. Yes, I have a conflict, and I have no problems having to walk away from the foundation and join the school board if so chose.
Okay. Do you have the support of your colleagues on that?
I think they're,
They know you're here
They do.
tonight?
They do.
Or is this the first time you're
No. A couple of them have been known for a while, and the rest of them were informed this past week in discussions of what it means. Obviously, they're excited. They're happy for me. They're very nervous of what it means. In that some will have to step up and some will have to become president. But yes, they're all aware, and I do have their support. So.
And I have it part 2. Our meetings are held basically every 2 weeks, with meetings once a month during the summer. Trustee can be removed from the board if they are absent from more than 3 consecutive meetings. Members are not only required to devote time to our public meetings, but they are also required to volunteer their time by joining committees that might be of interest to them. Again, you're quite a busy man. Will you have sufficient time to devote to this position?
I certainly will. Thankfully, my work requirements obviously have 2 meetings a month as well. They're on opposing weeks. I've checked the calendar, and they're also on Tuesdays. With regards to attendance and whatnot, we had the same thing on the Board of Adjustment, where you had 3 meetings you couldn't miss. I didn't miss a meeting until I fell ill, at which point I stepped down. But that being said, I have no problems or no issues. I give all of my time I can to the town, so it's for me it's par for the course. So.
Great. And I just have a question. How do you see what you've done with the Schools Foundation being similar or different from what you would be doing as a board member? I can ask that because I have some particular interest in that.
Yes. I think it's more an understanding of, it's a knowledge and understanding, and now we have several members now who've been on the foundation, of what the foundation does, their thought process in terms of, and versus the board's process of who pays for what, or who's interested in what, and also a communication with regards, and we've really picked it up a lot this year as well with the administration, on initiatives and ideas and larger projects and longer term projects that both sides can benefit from. So I think from that standpoint, I think it's a good conduit to have. It's a good conduit to have several members now who have been on the foundation. So I think it adds to it. I think it helps. I just think we will have more of an understanding what goes on there and vice versa.
Great, thanks, Ben.
Ben, I'm Terry's husband, Pete.
Yes.
My question is this. Please tell us something about the Mahwah School District that you're most proud of and why.
Aside from being ranked, statewide, nationally pretty high for a public school and public schools this size, what I've been most impressed about, and having lived here since 1977, having gone through the whole school district myself, and having lived here and then spent as kids here, its ability to grow as it did, its ability to stay in as much in the forefront as it has in terms of education, its ability to educate with the amount of students that came in, has been impressive to watch, not just from a teaching standpoint, but from a facility standpoint, from just overall talent standpoint and what it represents. So I think it's from the board, it's from the administration throughout the years who have really been good stewards of the growth. And now, for that matter, it's going to be a question of the leveling off or decline or what happens next. But I would say, from that standpoint, that's something I'm proud of. From the other standpoint, when we look at our programs, our sports programs, our music, our theater, we offer a lot, and I think we offer a high quality of those items. So.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Last but not least, do you have any specific questions for us, or do you need any further information at this time?
I don't.
Okay.
What year did you graduate Mahwah High School?
1993. Son's going to graduate in 2020. 2024 and the 23rd. It's going to be here a while.
Okay, at this time, we're going to take a motion to re-enter public, to return to executive session. May I have a motion to proceed? Mr. Wendrikowitz and Mr. De Silva, second.